Alright, the sun's out today, doing more tests with the mic. I'm actually setting it up today to see how it works. This is how I would ideally use it, I suppose, if I was to use it regularly for this anyways. Can you actually tell the difference actually when you're listening to it? Let's see how it goes. I'll do tests later on in busier environments and stuff too. And what did I read today? How about this one? Basically, more people want to use drones, I guess, to monitor animals, get data. This one says, drones for ducks. Researchers develop AI to measure migratory bird populations. An idea to simplify how migratory populations of ducks, geese, and cranes are counted first hatched around a campfire. The project took flight in Bos del Apache earlier this month for its first ever waterfowl survey. Every winter, wildlife managers are challenged to count the migratory waterfowl that fly down into refuge. Creating the count is difficult and often involves scaring birds into the air to be counted by making loud sounds or soaring past them in low-flying airplanes. That's kind of an interesting thought where people always say, for example, oh, the drone's gonna scare away the animals and all that, and here they're doing it on purpose to actually count them. It says researchers at the University of New Mexico, in collaboration with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Department of the Interior, are working to develop a machine learning model prototype that can count the birds using images taken by drones in a project titled Drones for Ducks. They say here, ideally it makes collecting the data more quick and efficient. It helps the biologists get the information they need more quickly by running it through the model, and they get an output that they can interpret in a timely manner. Converse said, "We also hope that this is less disruptive for wildlife. A lot of the species seem to not react much to the drone going over, whereas some of the traditional methods involve flushing them out so they can be counted." What does that do with all the narrative and stuff before, huh? Never fly a drone around animals and all that. I ask again, for everyone who had that mindset or people who kind of supported that, drone police people, how do you react to this, for example? Do you admit you're wrong in a way? Depends on what you're using and how, ultimately, as I've always said. Would this be a good thing overall to reduce things like hysteria, for example? Either way, good way to use the tech. It just makes me wonder, for all those people that said otherwise, what would you have to say now? And I was reading this, which was kind of interesting, as everyone was saying they were using a drone for this. Apparently, the Israel Defense Force posted this video showing this hidden tunnel that Hamas was using, for example, saying here, "Dear world, is this enough proof for you?" So what you can see in the video, it seems like anyways, they're using some kind of drone to fly into the tunnel to actually inspect the area. It's kind of interesting anyways. It makes me wonder what they're actually using. It says here, IDF and ISA forces revealed a significant 55-meter long terrorist tunnel 10 meters underneath the Shifa hospital complex during an intelligence-based operation. The tunnel entrance contains various defense mechanisms, such as a blast-proof door and a firing hole in an attempt by Hamas to block Israeli forces from entering. For weeks, we've been telling the world about Hamas's cynical use of residents of the Gaza and patients of Shifa hospital as human shields. Here is more proof. It's kind of interesting too with the video, because some people were even commenting, hey, how come it looked like a change like in some part of the video? It seemed like anyways it went from the drone view and then someone was on the ground afterwards. But either way, I guess it's kind of interesting. People are using like drones like these to actually scale out the situations as well, which I believe is one of the talking points of why police officers say they should be able to use drones to monitor situations like that, I guess. And in terms of things like soldiers and all that, I mean, you wonder, is this actually going to happen here? Imagine just randomly walking out here like today or something like that. You'll see like soldiers running everywhere. It says here, if you see armed soldiers in Vancouver this weekend, that's just the army in training, says the military. Exercises are scheduled to take place Saturday and Sunday, November 25th to 26th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Can you imagine that? It might look frightening, but Vancouver residents are being advised not to be concerned if they hear what sounds like gunfire or they see armed military members around a now closed brewery on the city's west side. Captain Graham Kane with 39 Canadian Brigade Group, which administers reserve forces in British Columbia, says members of the Vancouver-based Seaforth Highlanders Regiment will be taking part in an urban operations training this weekend. The statement from Kane says uniformed reservists might be seen carrying small armed weapons, and gunfire might be heard in the area around the former Molson Coors Brewery and the Seaforth Armory next door. It makes me wonder, are they actually firing like live ammo and stuff like that, or is it just like sound effects for training? Either way, I guess that'd be kind of interesting. People will probably assume, possibly anyways, hey, is this like a film shoot or something like that? This probably sounds way different from the previous days of testing because, again, I have one mic capturing the ambient sound. It's actually pretty loud. The default was 26, but I decided, let's just see how it's like. And at the same time, I have the mic recording my voice as well. I'm kind of excited to see how this actually sounds. Again, one capturing all the ambient noise, and then one, there's the mic here. Normally with the phone camera, you can't hear the birds here very well, so it makes me curious again, how does this sound? Especially with me talking during that moment, and now I'll be quiet. And I'm pretty far away from the cars and so forth. How does that sound in terms of the ambient noise from a distance? Again, I just left it at the initial setting, the 26 dB. That seems kind of high, but I just wanted to see what it's like. Is there a mom and dad here then too?
What's that?
Is there a mom and dad too, or just? Okay.
That's a mom and the baby.
Okay.
No dad. The dad
No.
don't hang out.
right, see you guys later.